Today on Community Cooking, we have guest chef Cassandra Bodzak in the kitchen making another mindful meal. We're making mushroom barley soup served with a dairy-free Caesar salad. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. So grab a seat, get comfortable. We've got another great meal for you. This is your Community Cooking. Hello and welcome to Community Cooking. I am your host, Kirk. Leins. In our kitchen today is a familiar face. It's Cassandra Bodzak. Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming back again. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with you, you are an author, you are a self-taught vegan chef, you're a wellness coach, meditation expert. I mean, is there anything I'm leaving out?
All the things. I think you checked all the boxes.
Just keep changing hats.
Yeah. I like to think of myself as like a mindful cooking person, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And mindfulness goes along with the sort of the theme of your book.
Totally.
Eat with intention.
Eat with intention.
Tell us about the book a little bit.
Yeah, so Eat with Intention is really about, first of all, just healing that relationship with your body. So many of us, we don't trust our own bodies. We don't feel like our body knows best. So we ask everybody else what to do, what to eat, what we should do, right? And so when we heal that relationship with our body, then we reclaim that power. Mm-hmm. And we also trust our own intuition. Our body's actually pretty brilliant about teaching us what foods work for it and which foods don't. And then it also just helps people enjoy being in the kitchen again. I call it kitchen magic, right. But really looking at the kitchen as a sacred place. If you think about it, we're making all these elixirs and magical meals, and you're nourishing your family in the kitchen. So I really want to bring that mindfulness back to putting ingredients together, to the process of cooking, and to enjoying eating.
Well, I think intention is what it's all about. I mean, when you start thinking about things change. You know, and it can even be like something like your drive to work. You sit there and just do this the whole time. You know, it's point A to point B. But all of a sudden, you kind of take a time to look around and go, wait a minute, I've never noticed that.
Yeah.
That's been here the whole time. I've been driving past it every day for the last 10 years, and I haven't seen. Same thing with food. Yeah. You know, the next thing you know, you're sitting in front of the TV with a bag of chips, and 3/4 of it's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. It's like we don't realize, especially the worst is when you have the, like I call it the lunch on the run.
Yeah.
And so you're like eating lunch in between like 2 meetings, and then you get out of your second meeting and you forget to even eat lunch because you're just so in the process of being like, I have to do this and I have to do this, that you didn't even enjoy whatever it was you ate.
Well, in the spirit of reclaiming intentional
reclaiming
eating,
our intentional food,
we've got 2 great dishes. The first of which is this mushroom barley soup.
Yes.
And now you're talking about 2 of my favorite things here. I love mushrooms. I love barley. Why don't you run us through the ingredients and we'll kind of get into this.
Yeah, so we have a mushroom broth that we're using. And then, of course, we have some cremini mushrooms. We also have some enoki mushrooms, but you can have fun and put whatever mushrooms you love in it. Barley, of course. Garlic, a little bit of salt, some onion powder here, some actual onion, some thyme, and then I'm using spinach today, but you can sub it for kale or whatever your favorite green is, and of course some EVOO.
Great. Okay, so a few thoughts here. 1, mushroom stock. Did you make that or did you buy that?
So I bought this.
Okay,
but
can
you
buy
could
that
make it.
Yeah, you could buy some of your better grocery stores or your more natural grocery stores will have mushroom.
Yeah.
Even some regular stores, I've seen it.
Oh yeah.
But you can't count on it all the time. It
No.
might not be there all the time.
No.
Not like a vegetable stock.
I usually stock up on it whenever I see it because mushroom stock is one of my like secret weapons.
Yeah,
like
great.
you can, whenever you cook, if you cook just regular rice or quinoa or anything like that, cooking it in mushroom stock.
Umami central.
Exactly.
Right?
It just adds such a nice depth.
Well, and speaking of mushrooms, I would imagine that these mushrooms could be interchanged with other types of mushrooms.
Absolutely.
So you're good to go on that. Now, the one thing I do want to ask about barley, we're talking about wheat. So let's say someone has a wheat allergy.
Yes.
Because I love barley, it's got such a nuttiness, a chewiness to it, and it holds up in soup. It doesn't get mushy like rice or like a noodle may.
Yes.
How would you replace that or substitute that?
So I would sub that out with quinoa. I think quinoa similarly.
Okay.
It's not as fluffy as barley is, but it has that same little nuttiness that I like to it.
Would you cook the quinoa separately and hold it separately, or would you make that a part of the soup?
I would cook it separately and hold it separately because quinoa is one of those things where if you let it saturate in the soup too long, it could get a little mushy.
Okay.
So it's nice to cook that separately and then add it in towards the end.
Okay, well, why don't we get our pan on the stove and get this going? Yeah, there's nothing worse than like when the grains in your soup turn to mush. It's just, then it's not the same thing. And, you know, it's just too easy to kind of make quinoa and hold it on the side, and you can use it for all sorts of different things.
Oh, it's great. I always like to have a big thing of quinoa in the fridge. Even you just throw it on your salad, right? It's a perfect protein.
It's great.
So especially
I'll even do like a riff on like Spanish rice with it, where like I'll do like a Mexican sort of flavored rice with it, as opposed to having rice. You know,
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, putting some herbs in there.
Okay, so our extra virgin olive oil goes into the pan, and then any prep you need me to do here?
Yes, I'm going to ask you to cut this onion.
Right.
If you want to be
all right, no worries. I can do that.
And then I will cut this garlic. And then we'll place them in our, and the thing I also love about this is other than cooking the barley or the quinoa separately, it's all done on one pan on the stove.
Okay, so tell me about cooking that barley separately, now that you brought that up, because we did cook that first, and how'd you do that?
So I cooked it first. It's like just simple instructions. You know, all the barley, when you get barley, it comes with the instructions on the package.
Sure.
However, I used to like say with anything like that, I mean, I almost eye everything. So I put a little bit of barley, I double the water for whatever amount of barley that I use. Okay. And then I just watch it, right? I stir it and I watch it. And I'm a big, you know, as far as grains, I think we're all different with what texture we like and, you know, where our thermometer hits, so to speak.
Sure.
So I think it's really good to just keep it, you know, you can be doing other things in the kitchen or whatever, but to keep a little eye on it. Well, you know, when I was creating this soup, I was thinking, you know, so many of us, when you think about, you know, nourishing soups to have, whether you're sick or whether it's just like a chilly day and you want to have a nourishing soup, we always go to chicken and rice or chicken noodle. And so I was thinking, what can have that same effect of something that's nourishing and hearty, and the mushroom barley combination is one of my faves.
Definitely, yeah. No, I'm a big fan of both, like I said. I mean, I would love to experiment with the mushrooms, like the types of mushrooms you use in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, all of a sudden you bring in maitake, or you bring in shiitake, or even domestic mushrooms, just regular old white domestic mushrooms are going to be good in there too. Oh,
and it's so fun, especially if you have kids, letting them like pick out all the mushrooms at the farmer's market or at the store.
That's been the tough one. I got to tell you, it's like my kids eat a lot. They eat a lot of stuff. Mushrooms is the toughest sell.
Really?
Yeah, you know what? I've loved them ever since I was a kid.
Me too.
So I can't really relate to them. I put them on my pizzas. You know, I love it on pizza. But no, not the boys. That's a little bit of a harder sell for me.
It's funny because they're so interesting. You think, as a kid, I love mushrooms so much that my parents would have to make sure I wasn't eating the ones in our grass.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
All right. We should talk about that for a second, because unless you are an expert forager,
you should not forage your own mushrooms.
Do not. I mean, it can put you 6 feet under real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it literally can kill you.
Yeah, my parents would always have to keep an eye on me.
You know,
I ate my mushrooms well.
Go somewhere. Actually, I can just hand you the cover of my pizza, and then you can hand it right back.
That works too.
You know, you're better off going to the farmer's market or to the market, and you know, it's funny. Mushrooms is one of those things where when you go to the farmer's market, there's people there that only do mushrooms.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. They're not selling you anything else. It's just mushrooms, and they have 20, 30 different kinds, from dried to...
And it's those people, those farmers, that I'll end up spending like an hour and a half talking to.
Yeah.
Right? And then, I mean, I always tell people this all the time. So, I mean, farmers markets are so trendy right now, which I'm really grateful for. I love that.
Not a bad thing.
But I feel like people underutilize them, because the real gem of the farmers market is talking to that mushroom man.
Yeah.
Right? Or the mushroom man or woman.
Any of those people,
them.
right. Yeah, because they're specializing in one thing.
And it's just, you can just, when you ask them, oh, okay, you know, how do you protect this crop? Like, how do you, you know, they're just so knowledgeable on it that we don't even realize,
right,
you know, how much that actually goes into that process.
And one thing I was thinking,
Just gonna add our mushrooms in
another way to procure mushroom stock, and this is just off the top of my head, when you work with dried mushrooms, you have to reconstitute them.
Yeah.
And that automatically makes a stock. So if you're not using that stock in the dish that you're using the mushrooms with, why not save it? Why not freeze it? And now all of a sudden you just got free mushroom stock.
Oh my God, free mushroom stock all day, every day. But if you get a good mushroom broth, and I also find at my farmer's market there is a company that actually sells. They have all the bone broth, and then they make the vegan mushroom broth.
And then you got the guy who makes kombucha, and then you got the person who makes soap, and it's like, it is the Canterbury Tales of all things food and somewhat food related.
It's the best.
That's the best part about it, right?
It's the best. It's like an adult amusement park of sorts. Well, for me, I guess.
Right. Yeah. It is a fun way to spend a weekend morning or a weekday morning. We here in Torrance, we're lucky. We get it twice, so it's great.
All right, we're just gonna let these.
So you just let them saute a little bit, let them cook just a touch.
Yeah,
take the raw out of them.
Yeah, because I like the flavor that comes when they're sautéing in just some olive oil here.
For sure.
And then this way, actually, I can also I'll add some of our onion powder here.
So you're using onion and onion powder. Is that what's your reason for that? I'll give you my idea, but I'll hear yours first.
Yeah, so onion powder has a little bit of a different taste.
Right. Okay.
It's a little bit sweeter, which I just really like. Onion powder and garlic powder is like my go-tos for everything.
Yeah, just sort of different levels of onion intensity.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, sort of building a flavor profile here.
Yeah, it's just it's different. I don't know, but I'm a big fan. Onion powder and garlic powder, I feel like, are the most used things in my kitchen.
Yeah, it's funny. I went away from them for a while with the mindset like, oh, I'd rather have the fresh onion or I'd rather have the fresh garlic. But I'll tell you, I've brought them back in, and especially for certain uses. And one thing that's really, really nice is, like, let's say you want to make like a smooth sauce or something that doesn't have a lot of texture to it.
Yeah.
Instead of using chopped onion, I might grate onion and then add some onion powder to it.
Yes.
And utilize that, because especially if I want that onion flavor to come through.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, I think for sauces and even for this soup, like when you're tasting it.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to just like gently gauge it with the powder.
Or if you want to make like a crouton,
yeah.
it's like it's nice to be able to coat the croutons with that as opposed to like a fresh garlic, which is gonna burn.
Yep.
Unless you put it on at the last second, then it never really gets cooked, and it's just a whole process.
It's the whole thing.
The powder's is a good thing.
So now we're just gonna add some spinach in here.
And this once again could be replaced with any sort of sturdy green like that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to start picking some thyme for you?
Yeah, I would love that.
Now we've got, this thyme is very delicate thyme actually. It's not sort of the woody stem thyme that you see a lot. This is very delicate. So these stems here could almost be used.
Yeah, you could totally. That would just
what I would probably do with thyme like this is I would probably take off a little bit and just chop it up for you. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds great.
You good with that?
I love thyme.
You think that's
thyme
enough,
is
or do you want?
one of those things.
Is that enough for you, or do you want more?
Oh, a little bit more.
A little bit more. Okay.
Actually, that's another good thing you could do in your mushroom broth. Just add a little thyme in there.
Absolutely.
Even if you're just drinking it straight.
I'm a big fan. It's an herb, a fresh herb that is always in my refrigerator, being used for something.
Yeah.
Even like chopped up in some scrambled eggs or
what have you. That's like take your omelet up a notch right there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
There we go. All right. I'm going to add our mushroom broth into the mix. I love mushroom broth so much.
And do you put the herbs in now, or you put them in at the end?
We'll put them at the end.
Okay, so that they don't sort of cook out.
Yeah.
And get dark. Okay, so it's ready for you. And then how about the enokis? They go at the end too?
Yeah, I like to do those at the end.
And aren't these beautiful things?
They're beautiful, and they're so delicious. Like, they taste so good.
I know.
I love them.
You could just sort of take off the root end here and toss this with a little bit of like soy or tamari, a little bit of like some rice wine vinegar, a little citrus, a little yuzu, a little bit of oil, and just make a delicious mushroom salad that would be a garnish on top of anything.
Yes, I love using them as garnishes.
Yeah,
Love
they're
using
delicate.
them
They're
as
delicate, so you
garnishes.
don't want to cook them out. So we're pretty much good here at this point, correct?
Yeah,
All right.
we're pretty good. And then we're just going to finish out with our thyme and our enoki.
Tell you what, why don't we take a break, get cleaned up, come back, and we are going to make a dairy-free Caesar salad.
That's right.
Can't wait to see this because my Caesar salad's got a lot of dairy in it.
I can't wait to see you taste it.
All right, don't go away.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. Joining me today is Cassandra Bodzak, and we've got our mushroom barley soup over on the stove.
Yeah.
Looking delicious. We've got the enoki mushrooms and the thyme, which we're going to sort of add at the end so that they don't get hammered.
Yes, exactly.
Right, okay. But now, it's going to be all about this dairy-free Caesar salad you've been raving about. Because like I said, mine's got a considerable amount of dairy.
Yes, well, I'm excited to have you taste this.
Between the
give your
egg and the
honest
Parmesan,
opinion on it.
So, all right, so why don't you run us through the ingredients and we'll start from there.
Yeah, so this is, it's a couple different components. So
Okay.
the ingredients for our chickpeas, so we're going to make some chickpea crouton-esque things, right?
Okay,
So we have
nice.
our chickpeas, we have some curry powder and turmeric, some onion powder there, and we're going to use a little bit of the olive oil as well. And then for our dressing, what we're going to use is the lemon, the Dijon mustard, the garlic, hummus, olive oil again, oregano, and some crushed garlic. And then this, we have nutritional yeast and some vegan cheddar cheese, which we can just use as like the cheese substitute, either one. And what else did I forget? Oh, right here.
Some
we have
sunflower seeds.
Sunflower seeds.
Beautiful.
Add some little texture.
Okay, I think I see where this is going.
Yeah.
This is a nice surprise because you're going to get these nice and toasty.
Yeah.
I take it.
Yeah.
That's delicious. And then nutritional yeast. Let's talk about that for a second because that's really good stuff.
Yeah.
It has a very cheese-like quality to it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite substitutes for cheese. Or if I'm making like a quote-unquote mac and cheese or a cheesy like Alfredo sauce, I love using nutritional yeast.
Absolutely.
So especially in a Caesar salad, if you're someone that would use like a more grated Parmesan in a Caesar salad, then you can use nutritional yeast in that place.
Sprinkle it on top of anything.
Exactly. And this one, I tried to get one that had bigger flakes in it because I feel like it has a little bit nicer for that
More texture. Doesn't get lost.
But then I also have the option of the vegan cheddar, which is, again, for someone that wants a little bit more heartier, I guess, of a texture instead of that. You can interchange them. I
Right.
usually do whatever I have around the house, honestly.
So where do we start? What's our first step?
So the first thing we want to do is we're going to preheat our oven to 400, and then we're going to roast some chickpeas. So you want to
Okay.
get that going, and then you can make your dressing and everything else.
I take it you need the chickpeas?
Yes, let's put the chickpeas. So
All right.
these are drained and rinsed, and we're just going to put these in a nice bowl,
Canned, not dried.
canned, make your life easy. And I'm just going to do like about 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
Just to get it a little moist.
Yeah, just to get it moist, and then we're going to add our spices in there.
Okay.
So now we're going to add our curry.
I love
powder.
that. I love curry powder.
Good. So good. And turmeric. So
I
good
see
for
where you
you.
go with this. This would be delicious, like to put in a bowl and eat on the couch while you're watching a movie.
Honestly, I always, whenever I make this for my salad, I make a ton of it.
Yeah, you
And
gotta.
then I like save it, and I throw them on salads all week. I'll eat them as snacks.
So good. Yeah. My wife loves this. Absolutely loves this right here.
And the cool thing is that it's taking the substitute of the crouton that would be in the Caesar salad,
Right.
but there's so much protein
Sure.
in these beans as well. So it really also helps satiate you.
Or if you were doing a salad for dinner, like sometimes we do that, right? You
Yep.
just want a salad for dinner, but you know what? You don't want to like ignore, any one nutritional component. So
Yeah.
there's your protein.
Exactly. I love this. And then depending on how hungry I am, depends on how many of the chickpeas I'll add to my salad at any given time.
And how long are we roasting these for?
Yeah, so I'd say maybe 15 minutes.
Okay.
I keep an eye on them because everybody's oven's different, Just keep an eye on them. You'll see them when they start crisping up.
So those are all ready to go now?
Yep.
Great. Want to get those in the oven for you.
There you go. Thank you.
And we have a batch that we put in a little bit earlier. And this is what they look like
Perfect.
when they come out.
Nice and crunchy.
Yeah, may I?
Yes, please do.
I'm going to taste this right now because I just can't resist. Yeah, that's great. Good. I want a bunch.
Right?
I want a bunch. I'm going to put these over here for now. And what's next?
What's next? So next we're going to make the dressing.
Great.
We're going to take just a small bowl and make the dressing. And I feel like the dressing is kind of like the big thing in the Caesar salad.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Let's get that close to you there so that you can.
All right. Can you help me out and just take a few of those cloves and just chop them up really finely?
Nice and small, I would imagine. You don't want big bites of garlic.
Yeah, nice and small.
Understood.
You can smash them.
Mm-hmm.
So my secret to my dressing is also using garlic hummus. Right? You can use regular hummus too, but why not more garlic?
So this is helping you sort of emulsify it and get it thick. It's taking the place of that egg yolk.
Yep.
Okay.
It keeps it nice and thick and creamy. Makes it a nice, heavy, hearty dressing.
So is the garlic hummus something you're buying or making, or either or both?
Either.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do. I mean, making your own hummus is always the best, right?
Easy.
Obvious.
And it's
easy to
right.
do.
Right.
But again, if you don't do it, then that's fine. You can get a great hummus at the store, and it's always good to have around.
Right.
And then I'm also using Dijon mustard. So about equal parts of that dressing and some of the Dijon mustard, because it also gives a little bit of that tang to it.
Well, it's important because, what's funny is when you're making Caesar traditionally with the egg yolk, and you use Dijon.
Yeah.
And because it's helping emulsify the oil and the vinegar and the lemon and all of that together. But it also is providing a flavor note.
Yeah.
So you can't leave it out. Even though you've got this thick component of the garlic hummus, you kind of still need that, that Dijon if you're going to try to make it taste like Caesar.
So good. And so I'm also going to, of course, add the oil. So we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of oil into there. And I do, the secret ingredient is actually oregano.
A little bit of oregano,
Oregano is actually, I think, what makes it taste the most like a Caesar dressing.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm going to be heavy-handed about that. And we'll see how you think.
Okay.
And then, of course, some lemon. Adds that really nice.
Are we good with that there?
That's perfect.
Okay. I'm going to come right over when you're done with that lemon. Yeah, you got to have lemon, right?
Yes. Oh, so good.
No vinegar, though, huh?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, the lemon's what it's all about. Actually, the original Caesar, it's like you could do some research on it, and the original Caesar salad was done by an Italian chef in Mexico.
What?
Yeah, I believe in Tijuana, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it was the original recipe. Caesar salad initially was eaten with your hands. It was romaine hearts that were left whole, and you ate it with your hands. And a couple things happened in the course of history, like when it became more popular in the United States. They went to a chopped salad because chefs didn't think Americans would eat salad with their hands.
Yeah.
That was the first thing.
But I actually love that because I've been to some really nice restaurants that do that take on a Caesar.
I like it too.
Love it.
And then the other thing is, we're a lot different consumers now than we were back in like the 50s too.
Yeah.
So the other thing is the egg yolk, they didn't think that Americans would necessarily want to see that done tableside all the time. So you were starting to see dressings coming or salads coming out from the kitchen as opposed to being done there.
Yeah. And it's funny because, again, if you go to certain really nice restaurants, they'll do it all right in front of you and then crack the egg.
Yeah, and the thing with eggs is like, for the most part, they are safe. They are pasteurized products.
Yeah.
If you have any concerns, you can always drop it into some boiling water for 15, 20 seconds and then shock it in some cold water because any sort of like issues that you would have with the egg are going to exist on the outside of the shell. Yeah. They're not going to exist on the inside, so you don't have to cook it. It's the outside of the shell that would have it. So
a great tip. So this is our Caesar dressing.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll toss it into, I like to toss the salad.
Of course.
I know sometimes that's not always the most aesthetically pleasing thing to do, but I think...
No, I think with this and a dressing that thick, you kind of have to.
Yeah, it's so important.
Do we need to chop some lettuce
I'm going to get you chopping the raw onion.
And you want to chop, not slice, correct?
Chopped. And so I also love this raw red onion. Adds a little bit more bite to the salad.
Okay.
Which I love. I love the flavor of that.
Okay.
If you're someone that is not a huge fan of onions, then you can totally skip this. Or just using a regular white or yellow onion will be less
Yeah,
strong.
the other thing that you could do too is you could slice them extremely thin.
Yeah.
Very thin, and then sometimes too, if you can also soak them in a little bit of water and then drain them off, and that takes some of the bite out of it.
Oh, yeah. grab this. We'll lift this off, and I'll put some of this romaine in the bowl.
And you probably don't need a ton of this, right?
No.
And you like it on the smaller side, or what's?
I like it on the smaller side.
Yeah. All right. A little bit of a finer chop than we've done before, I should say.
Yes, I love a good Caesar. And the cool thing about this is too is like if you're hungry, you can always add something to it. You know, if you like fish, you can add a nice piece of salmon or something to it. But I eat this just by itself all the time as a meal, and it's so filling between the dressing and the chickpeas.
Okay.
And so I have my romaine in here. And then what I also have, like we had chatted about, we have either the vegan cheddar or the nutritional yeast. Kirk, I'll let that be your choice. What are you feeling today?
I want to go nutritional yeast.
All right, all right.
For sure, for sure. How are we good with about like that?
Perfect.
Does that feel good?
Yeah, that feels
Yeah, I
great.
think so too. We don't want it too onion heavy. All right. Okay, so I tell you what, why don't we get the onions and the thyme into that soup.
Sounds good.
We'll start tossing this salad, and then we're going to take a break. Get everything cleaned up. We'll make you a plate. Welcome back to Community Cooking. In our kitchen today is Cassandra Bodzak, and we have the delicious meal that you have prepared for us. We have our mushroom barley soup, which smells great, and we have our dairy-free Caesar salad, which I chuckle every time I say that because. But you know what? Listen, I'm keeping an open mind, and I'm going to go into it.
I want your
I'm just
honest
gonna call
opinion.
it a Caesar
your
salad.
honest opinion, yeah.
All right, let's start with the soup. Let's start there.
Sounds good.
Okay, this is such a hearty-looking soup. Oh, that's yummy. Boy, I'm going to tell you something. If you like mushrooms, this is a soup for you.
So good. Can be a whole meal in a soup.
That's really good.
Thank you.
I really like that a lot. A little sherry vinegar in there, maybe.
Yes.
Oh my, that's delicious. And you know what? That barley, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect addition to that. All right, here we go.
All right, here's the real test. I'm nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. Come on. Let's see here.
See if it passed the pros test over here.
That's crazy good. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Listen, if you're a Caesar salad purist, you're not going to go, oh, that's necessarily Caesar. I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of components in here that are very Caesar. It's garlicky like a Caesar should be.
Yeah.
The consistency of that dressing is like it should be. The nutritional yeast gives it that cheesiness, and I love the garbanzo beans giving it the crunch of the croutons. This is really good.
Yay!
This is really good.
I'm so glad you approved.
I will crown it a dairy-free Caesar salad.
It's one of my favorite foods, honestly.
Well done. That's excellent. Cassandra, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you'll be back again, I would imagine, making some more delicious food. Vegan food.
So. Oh, delicious vegan food.
This just goes to show you that we really are cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. So on behalf of myself, everyone here at the show, thank you for watching. We will see you next time. This is great. I'm going back in.
Yay!
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain, or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.